If populist Dune 2 and Warcraft lit a fire beneath the real-time strategy genre, Westwood's Command & Conquer brought a can of lighter fluid. Funnily enough, the genre was so new that reviewers at the time had yet to even settle on calling them real-time strategy games yet, but that did not stop a wave of Command & Conquer clones from hitting the market.
Dark Reign was the peak of this wave. Developed by Australia's Orange Studios and published by Activision, it's a game most have forgotten, and that's a shame, as the title was certainly among the most influential PC games released in 1997. Development of Dark Reign began in 1996. Greg Borrud, the game's producer, told Computer Gaming World that, quote, "When we first started working on the game, our mandate was to create a fun game and have it out by Christmas." He and game director Josh Resnick grabbed game designer Trey Watkins, and they got to work.
They settled on the game's core design in 2 weeks of around-the-clock work, then dove into making examples of the game's cinematics and music. This gave the team a demo to show at an Activision press day held in Los Angeles in late 1996. Dark Reign was so well received by the press that Activision gave the developers an extension to properly finish the title instead of squeezing it out quickly as planned.
The extension was paired with a marketing push by Activision that went hand in hand with the game's subtitle, "The Future of War." Pretty catchy, right? Well, ads pitching Dark Reign as the next leap forward for the RTS genre could be found in major PC game magazines through 1997. The game earned positive previews in Computer Gaming World, Computer Strategy Games Plus, and GameSpot, and it became one of 1997's most highly anticipated PC games.
In the end, the game took a year to develop and released in September of 1997. That may seem crazy quick by modern standards, but it was several times longer than the original deadline. This commitment underscores how important Dark Reign was to Activision. The company was still recovering from bankruptcy and in desperate need of a hit in the hot new RTS genre.
The developers at ARN put the time to good use, as Dark Reign improved on several of the genre's weakest points. One was the AI. Early RTS games had brain-dead unit AI, so much so that players often had to repeatedly input commands to keep units on task. Dark Reign added AI that let units scout, harass, or defend automatically, and units were more capable of moving and engaging enemies without micromanagement. This was a key advantage in 1997, and it earned a lot of praise from critics.
They also liked the 2D engine, which looks and feels excellent for a title from 1997. Dark Reign has a very effective fog of war system, something that wasn't new to the genre, but often was not implemented very well.
It's also among the first RTS games to lean on the use of terrain to influence gameplay. Units are broken into various types. Walking units, for example, can climb elevation better than wheeled units, but were generally the slowest, while wheeled units were quicker, but they had more trouble with terrain, and so on. This gave Dark Reign a very detailed, gritty, and realistic feel. Total Annihilation, which also arrived in 1997, made similar advancements, but came at it in a different way, instead using a pseudo 3D game engine and basic 3D physics to place a similar importance on terrain. And then there's my personal favorite feature, the map editor. Once again, a map editor was not unique, but Dark Reign's editor was miles ahead of most competitors. It was easy to use yet functional, letting players create anything from multiplayer maps to single-player missions. The advanced terrain system in Dark Reign made the map editor especially fun because the placement of terrain had a big impact on how map played. I am sure I spent as much time noodling with the map editor as I did actually playing the game. Oh, and the game had an awesome musical score from Jihan Wang, the mid-90s game composer behind other more widely known game soundtracks like MechWarrior 2, Battlezone, and Interstate 76, among others. Now, not everything was perfect with Dark Reign. There are a couple flaws worth mention. You can tell the team at ARN had hopes of building a campaign similar to Command and Conquer, but they clearly didn't have the resources or experience to match it. The cinematics are shorter, less frequent, and less impressive, and the story is long on lore, but short on characters. The game also caught some flack for failing to push faction diversity forward. The general style and themes of each faction, the agile Freedom Guard and the formidable Imperium, felt a bit overly familiar to Command and Conquer veterans. Still, the game was definitely the hit Activision needed. Dark Reign released as the number 4 best-selling PC game in the United States for September of 1997, and like many real-time strategy games, its success was increased by strong international appeal. It became the top-selling PC game in Germany and Australia on its release. It sold well enough to earn a major expansion, Rise of the Shadowhand, which added 2 all-new playable factions to fix complaints about faction diversity.
But while Dark Reign was a success for Activision, it seems to have been less so for Arn Studios. Anonymous posts made on a now-deleted forum, allegedly from developers and artists on the project, complained Arn Studios management paid low wages, wrote developers to work very specific hours, and banned playing computer games in the office. An anonymous former employee said, quote, "As a result, staff left in droves, resulting in a 6-month situation where managers outnumbered artists and programmers by 7 to 4. The original forum posts, which included a response from Arn's management, seemed to be lost to time. Still, I'd lean towards thinking there was some truth to the claims, as Arn failed to retain the talent behind Dark Reign.
Game director Josh Resnick left to found Pandemic Studios with an investment by Activision. Pandemic then turned around and hired key members of the Dark Reign team, including producer Greg Borrud and programmer Andrew Cooper, among others, who went on to develop the unfortunately far less popular Dark Reign 2. Pandemic, which was closed in 2009, also developed the original Star Wars Battlefront titles and the cult classic action game Destroy All Humans. Its Brisbane studio had a role in establishing that city as one of 3 major hubs in Australia's game development scene, alongside far larger cities like Melbourne and Sydney.
In the end, I think Dark Reign left its impression on the genre. The game's AI advancements, presentation, and slick map editor kept up the momentum of major year-over-year improvements in the RTS genre.
The game is often overlooked only because of the shadow of Starcraft, which arrived about 6 months later, and is very similar in its general themes and presentation. Dark Reign was popular on launch, but it trailed off as players turned towards Blizzard's smash hit, which did more to innovate on the core gameplay loop established by Command and Conquer back in 1995.
So, did you play Dark Reign back in 1997? If you did, what did you think of it? Let me know in the comments, and as always, don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you loved it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.